What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Gomu Gomu No Talk podcast, where we talk all things One Piece related news, chapter reviews, and episode reviews. I'm your host, Lyle. I also go by Boy Online. And with me is my wonderful co-host, Austin. Say what's up, Austin.
What's up? What's up? Welcome back, lads.
So today we got a pretty some light episode. We have a chapter review for chapter 1151
hmm
and for episode 1132,
Yep.
which we'll be talking about later. Yeah,
hmm
both episode and chapters are pretty light. What did you think before we actually really get into it?
Yeah, they were both light, but I actually really enjoyed it, and I guess we'll go into that later. But I liked it, even though I think in terms of like how crazy they were, it was definitely not as crazy as like last week's, but I still really enjoyed
Yep.
them.
Yep. And before we actually fully get started, I just want to say if you guys are listening to this on YouTube, please subscribe. If you guys listen to any other platforms, give us a follow, give us a like, check out the links in the description. It helps us out a lot. Leave a comment, all that
hmm
stuff. We for the comments that we do get on occasion, like we actually really do take
Yeah,
that into
we actually
factor,
really
and it
appreciate
helps
those.
us. It helps us a lot.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I guess for the agenda, like I previously quickly went over, we're gonna be doing the chapter review
Yeah, we're
first.
switching it up a little bit this
Um,
week. So
we'll just
chapter
see how it
review first.
goes. We're gonna do chapter review first, and straight into the episode. So I guess yeah, let's get started in 1151. The
Okay.
chapter is
Let's see. The
called
title
"I Get
is
the Idea" with a
with
bunch of
three
exclamation marks.
exclamation marks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so. Before we go, let's talk about the cover art. I thought
Yeah.
we were finished,
Bro,
but I
I
guess we're
know.
not finished.
Dude, there's like I know you said you thought we were finished last week, but I already know this is going on for another at least like 10 chapters.
Dude, I think it's so funny that it's like you know what? Let's actually give this a chance because every time Yamato comes up, we always talk about how annoyed we are. But let's actually look at what's going on.
Yeah.
Um, it's a callback to when Luffy first got back
When
to
he was in
Wano,
Wano,
right?
yeah. And doing
Where they were doing
sumo.
the sumo res. I think this is the same guy, right?
Yes, I believe so. I believe it's
Hey
the
man.
same guy that he tossed out in the
Um,
previously.
so yeah, I mean, yeah, there's really nothing much else going on. So I guess
Yeah.
let's go.
I mean, there's really not much to talk about. It's just Yamato doing another side quest, you know? I don't
Yeah.
know how many
Yep.
more side quests there are, but like she's just
And
finding stuff at this point to do.
I just want to like put this out there, like, dude, we love Yamato. I don't know, but like, I
No,
love Yamato as a
I
character,
do too, but the cover arts
and
are kind of just
there's
killing me at this
nothing.
point.
Yeah, it's killing me. So let's actually get into what's going on in this chapter,
Mhm.
which starts off pretty like like basically where we left off previously, where the Dami Reversi, that's how you say it, right?
Yep.
All the we see Dory and Broggy are in their demon forms, and we just get to the giant pirates just trying to like like plead with them. I think his name is I wrote it down, Thorman, right?
Yes.
Thorman is like, yo, come on, like, why do you guys have to do this shit? And like it's like, dude, it's evil. Those
Yeah.
guys are evil now. They have no fucking idea what the
I
fuck
like
they're
how he's
saying,
just
bro.
like, yo, come on, don't do it to Ja Rule. Like we like this guy, don't we?
He's like, nah, he's great, and they even said like he's grown old and feeble. Now, so we
Mhm.
gotta force his ass into retirement.
Yeah, and you can kind of
Like,
see that they're just like completely, I guess, like brainwashed at this point in their like demon form.
hmm
It seems like they almost have like no self control anymore. Um,
yeah, and it's yeah, I wrote it down as like brainwashed, but it's like this has to be some sort of like inner feeling they must have, right? Where
mhm.
I guess it's like something deep down inside them. Maybe this is like something within them that has come out. Everyone's capable of becoming this demon form, which we see later on that anyone between Dory and Broggy just becomes a demon,
Mhm.
and it's replicated. It's shown in that I think it's called like the Othello or the Go game board,
Yes, yeah, I believe
where
the
all
game
the
is called
pieces just
Go.
we see that like in that game board, right? The
Hmm.
the first the second panel is that like he just suddenly turns black,
Yeah.
and I do want them to. I would like for them to go more into detail with
Yeah, I
that.
really like
But
this
I guess,
detail. I thought it was really cool that they did that.
a- and I know before we start recording, you said you played this
Yeah, I played
when you
this
were a
like
kid.
so long ago when I was a kid. And I barely remember the rules. I just know it was a very like strategic game in which you're kind of just trying to you like convert the other person's pieces into like your pieces, in which we can see in this case that the white piece turns black, you know. And I thought it was like a really
Mm,
good metaphor into I guess what they were trying to accomplish right now, which is just like total control
yeah,
over Elbath.
yeah. Um, yeah, and then these next few pages, we just see more chaos being like ensued onto
The
Elbath, where
Giants, yeah.
Stormin like made that switch, like no, I don't want to turn. Man, this shit feels
Yeah, I
good,
know.
bro. Like
He started feeling
no,
himself as soon as he started turning too.
yeah, and that guy walking like pretty kind of goofy,
Hmm.
like on his way out. It's something, but like
Oh,
I also like along with everyone turning into demons, we see more
I guess the nightmares,
Killingham
right?
calls them sleep tids, right?
Oh
I
yeah.
looked it up to see if that's a real word. That's not really a word. I don't think it's a real word, but we see them they sleep tids. These basically just the same thing as before, like his like nightmare amalgamations that
Hmm.
comes out, and we see Killingham also in his man beast form too. I guess that's like
Yeah, I
his
guess is this
face,
his hybrid form?
yeah, his hybrid form. And I'm not gonna
Which
lie, I was
I was
not
very confused too.
I thought this was like kind of surprising. Like I did not expect this guy to look like this.
Yeah, I thought this was a really
I'm
cool
not
detail, and I wonder if you picked it up as well. But like we can see his actual face, like his human face, in which we can also see his
yeah,
teeth, in which you can see they're very jagged and sharp. And I think previously what we've seen in One Piece is that like only fishmen have this trait.
that's
So
true.
does this
But like
imply that he's a fishman?
but a fishman, celestial dragon, holy
Holy
knight.
Knight, I know.
It it is a crazy combination. But I guess
Mhm.
like in the world of One Piece, like I can't really say anything, right?
Yeah,
But I don't think so. Maybe that has something to do with his hybrid form that it's taken part of
maybe.
like the
I,
the dragon. I mean, dragons have dragon teeth, right? So I don't know,
I'm not sure, but I feel like the
but
last time we saw this was also with Jack and Wano, like when he got
yeah,
sunk, in which we could see that he has jagged teeth and that, you know, he obviously didn't just completely die when he was sunken into the water.
yeah. It
But
also like see too like does that look like Gil? Like I'm trying to like I'm looking at it. No, that's just his gloves. Um, but maybe we'll get more into it. But I was gonna say like what I wanted to say. I'm like, dude, I did not expect Killigan to look like this. Yo, he's a good looking guy,
yeah,
bro.
he's a
I
good
ain't gonna
looking
lie,
guy.
man.
But
He's a good looking guy.
yeah,
But
I was
what were
not
you saying?
expecting this centaur form, you know, especially since he's a like a dragon, like he has a dragon fruit. I was not expecting horse body, you know,
Well,
to be
that's
honest.
like that. That's the mythical creature that is Kieran.
Hmm.
Kieran is like it's like a like I remember I looked this up. Where
Yeah.
it's like a half dragon, half horse kind of thing.
Hmm.
I can actually send you
Yeah,
like a
we'll put a
photo of
picture up
like
so people can
yeah.
see.
I'm gonna put this in. I'm putting this in general chat. It's like that's what like Kieran's supposed to be, and
I see, I
um,
see.
so it does play into that
Hmm.
really well, I guess. But like you know, did we got the full name of it of his devil fruit right before? Like
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
keep
we did.
forgetting.
We have before.
So I guess the people who are really into like looking up like the mythology of other like the names and stuff. Like yeah, like it's not a surprise, but to me like yeah, I was like oh shit.
Hmm.
But yeah, I I remember we talked about it before. I think we both said that like out of the three holy knights, like killing him seemed to be the most like the least interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm actually very excited to see him getting some shine. And like now he's like very excited because like he says later in the chapter two that the Great One is here. It's
Mhm.
time. There's no. He says in this page actually, like, yeah, there's no need to hold back. And I'm actually very excited. I'm very excited to see the Killingham stocks go up
Yeah,
because
no, I know.
he,
Even in our last
he's a lot
video,
more interesting.
we rated him pretty low on our tier list video. I guess
Yeah,
relative to all the Holy Knights, but also something I noticed, dude. I think his weapon is so sick here. It's like a
yeah,
trident, but it's like a three-pronged trident, but they're not like equal. Like it's kind of like jagged. So
yeah.
I feel like especially in One Piece, I'm always a sucker for like cool and unique weapons. So I'm kind of excited to see him pop off here. But
Mhm.
again, we see him. He's obviously leading the charge now with all the nightmares behind him. And at this point, the Giants are retreating, and it just looks completely cooked for them.
Yeah. Um, like in with everybody retreating, I saw that, like, we see the Straw Hats. That's now like Luffy, Sanji, and Zora and them. That's with Loki right now.
Hmm.
Uh, they're like screaming out like, Usopp is like, Blaster Bro, don't worry, Master Broggy. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing to your homeland? Like, wake up, wake up, wake
Yeah.
up. And then and I was like thinking like, dude, I feel like Usopp is gonna play a pivotal factor until like turning these guys back if they go turn back to regular humans or regular giants. Which
Yeah.
is a
I could
possibility
kind
that
of
like
see that too, especially with I guess I feel like Usopp does have like somewhat of a deeper connection with Dory and Bragi. And we can kind of see, especially like a few chapters ago with Gunko, like something triggered her to kind of get out of this like brainwash or like out of Emu's
yeah.
control. So maybe he might play like a pivotal role. Hopefully Usopp
I
stocks go
mean,
up soon.
he did it before too with I forgot who it was, but when they're in Little Garden, right?
Hmm.
Where I think it was, I forgot it was whether it was Dory or Broggy, but they basically gave up, and then Usopp's like, I thought you were a giant,
Yeah.
like, what the hell are you doing? And I can see the same thing here. It's like, dude, like,
Uh-huh.
Usopp is really with the shits. Like, this is who he looks up to, and when he sees them going against them, like, I'm just when I because when he says that, and you see like Broggy looking back, or maybe they're just showing like a panel of just Broggy, but
Mhm.
I was like, dude, is he actually gonna like play a big factor into them turning back? Even if they do turn back, there's a possibility that these guys might like make it to the end of the series as just brainwash.
Yeah.
We never really
We
know.
never
It's There's a
know.
lot of possibilities.
Hmm. No,
Um,
and let's
but,
see.
but right
Yeah.
after that, like, we get like just a better look, I guess, of all the nightmares coming in, and we get a little conversation between Summers, killing him, and Emu. No, I
Hmm.
was gonna say Gunko, but it's not really Gunko no more.
Yeah.
But this is like, it goes into what I think is the biggest question to the story, because they were talking
Yes.
about how the blame board's entirely our color. Like, at this point, like, it's only gonna take a little bit for them to fall under our control.
Hmm.
Um, and she even and then Emu, I was gonna say she, but we don't know if it's a he or she.
Hmm.
Emu says this country would have been subjugated years ago, if not for Harold's miserable failure.
Yeah. And I feel like
And
this
that's what
was
I
the meat
wanted
of
to
the
talk about.
chapter. Yeah. I also
Yeah.
really wanted to discuss this too.
Um, what was Harold's failure? So we
Hmm.
know that Loki killed. Like, it's
Yeah,
there's
we
no
we
hiding
know that
that Loki
Loki
killed.
killed him, and obviously we know that the purpose of I guess Emu was to subjugate Elbaf, and that
Yeah,
I guess Harold's mission was to somehow subjugate all of Elbaf, and I assume Loki kind of stopped it, which kind of goes
yeah.
back into like I know last chapter I was talking about like, oh, like, do you think Loki was like controlled by Umu to kill Harold? But I feel like the fact that they said this might have changed things, because it was be like, why would Emu control Loki to kill Harold if Harold's
Or
mission, you
or
know?
me or maybe Harold was controlled by Emu.
That and
We
that's
know
what I'm
that
thinking too now.
giants are very prideful,
Hmm.
right? And I can never see them actually like betraying their own kind. And like
Oh
the
yeah.
only time that we see correct me if I'm wrong, but the only time we see that this happening is what people thought of Loki as betraying and killing, his dad. But then
Mhm.
we find out there's a reason. There's a reason for
Yeah.
all of this. Um, so like I was thinking, like when I was reading this chapter, like okay, maybe Harold was trying to figure out a way for Elbaf to be allied with the world government and be under Emu's control. Or now that you mention it, I think it is a bigger possibility that Emu either controlled Harold,
Mhm.
maybe blackmailed them the similar way to like how they gave him the ultimatum. Oh, like I'm gonna burn this country down, or you gotta kneel to us. There might be something similar to that, but
Yeah.
I am leaning more towards that Harold was either controlled or seems forced to try to
Forced,
do it.
yeah. I could see
Um,
Harold being forced to do it. Maybe, and like even now, I was just like thinking about it. And I feel like it has to tie in with Loki somehow. So maybe Emu was like holding Loki hostage. Was like, I yo, one of y'all's gotta die, you know.
mhm. And
So,
what all we've known from Harold so far is how great of a man he was.
yeah, he's
He
very
was
well
this man
respected.
who well respected. He he broke the barrier between what the old giants were with the horns and like very barbaric to what they are today. Very I'm not gonna say like they're intelligent before and now, but it's more so they're a lot less
Mm.
just rampaging for
Yeah,
the
they're
sake of
they're a lot more
rampaging.
cultured now, I think.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word.
Hmm.
So we'll find out more. Maybe we'll
I
find out in the
know.
next few
I
chapters,
just
hopefully.
cannot wait to see this Loki backstory because I feel like it will explain all of this, and this kind of
Also,
goes into what
also,
happens next too.
I also think it'd be kind of cool to for Oda to prop up this man just to be for him to be a dickhead. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's move on a little
So I
bit.
guess like right after this,
Uh,
we see the perspective of it. Kind of goes back into earlier in the world, right after Gavin starts falling from I forgot the top layer called, but like he's falling towards the
the
underworld.
sun world or something, the
Yeah,
summon layer. Yeah.
and you could see obviously he's fallen down, and I think a few chapters ago, or it might have been last chapter, I don't remember exactly, but Chopper dives down to like with him, and you could really see Chopper starting to like regret his decision. He's like, oh, I didn't really think this through, we're falling from like literally the sky.
Yeah.
But his
And
mission is to save Gavin, and he does. He uses his guard point, and I assume he just like cushions the impact.
yeah, he uses guard point pushes the impact. You hear the foomp, the
Mhm.
foomp
Yeah.
sound effect, and like right after that, we pan towards this big panel. We see what's that? Loki, Sanji, Zoro, Luffy, Road, Hasrudin. I don't know that I forgot that guy's name all the way at the left.
Yeah, I don't remember
Correct
his
me.
name either.
But it's I think it's Luffy that says like, hey, like Chopper just fell,
Yeah.
and oh yeah, he even says it like he even confirms it later. How did I know that shit was Chopper? But
Mhm.
we see that going on, and then right after
Well,
that too, like I guess
mhm.
someone went to go get him, and
Yeah.
while they were gonna go get him, we see a call, and this was from a callback to some odd chapters ago that
Yes.
someone has been talking to Loki this whole time while he was what's it called in prison, right?
Mhm.
Refers to him as Shaggy,
Yes.
and Shaggy just basically calls like like I appreciate the talks, but I realize talking to you, you know, it's I think it's kind of like bad that like I've gotten more solace like talking to you. So yeah, I'm not gonna talk to you ever again or some shit.
Well,
Thanks.
I think it goes. He says he's what's it called? He's kind of, or yeah, he says he won't be able to call him for a while. He doesn't really explain why, in which
Yeah,
Loki, you can see he's like very flustered and also very worried. And he asks, like, "Are you in danger?" And the guy just says, like, "Oh, I'm fine," and just thanks him. I actually really like this
yeah,
part of the chapter. You can see like Loki, because obviously when you see people describe Loki, they're like, "Yo, this guy's a menace to society." Like everyone hates Loki, but this guy's like actually like really thanking him for just like I guess their personal conversations, their deep conversations, and it seems like they have a very like they're friends, you know, which is
Yeah,
like very rare with seeing how everybody talks about Loki.
yeah, and
But
Loki's just.
yeah, I kind of
This is
wanted to
probably the only
mention.
person that's treated Loki with respect. But what were you
Mhm.
gonna say?
I kind of wanted to mention even before this, like, right after we saw Chopper, you know, use his guard point, the conversation between Loki and Hadruden, bro, I like how Loki wants him to beg, you know, for the answer.
Yeah.
And I wish this guy begged because I want to see this. I want to know what happened, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like there's only one
Hajrudin.
way
Well,
that he's gonna tell him like what's going on.
yeah. Um, I also think it's funny. It's like, dude, Loki's supposed to be the big motherfucker, and I think like I just think it's so funny. Like sometimes like he's like drawn to be gigantic, but then like in this like in that panel where everyone's eating,
Mhm.
he just looks like a more regular sized giant, right?
Yeah.
You
I
see
guess
that,
maybe
and it's
because it's
like,
he's lying down. But yeah, I
yeah,
know
and
what you
maybe
mean.
Luffy is so much more forward, and my
Yeah.
perspective is
Luffy's
really
actually
fucked
like
up.
2 miles in front of him, you know? And it's just the
Maybe like we see like when Loki stood up, like dude, wasn't like Hajrudin like to his like knees or some
Dude,
shit?
yeah, I think he was like barely to his boots, you
This guy
know?
is massive, and we're trying, and like now he looks like he's like almost maybe like like
Mhm.
similar in height, and it's like crazy. And
It
I'm
is
just
pretty
like I
funny
just
that
thought
you
that was
mentioned
funny,
that. Yeah. I didn't really notice that, but
but
now that I look back, yeah, that is kind of true.
but like so like we got all this stuff going on. These guys are all chit chatting between the new giant pirates, Loki and Straw Hats that are there.
Mhm.
But we see that's when like the others were able to get Chopper and Gabon that fell from the sky. And
Yeah.
Gabon's like fuck. Gabon is fucked.
Yeah.
Okay, at this point, and then they're all like, oh, and then Luffy. That's when Luffy's like, oh my god, this is that old man that I was fighting before. It's
Mhm.
there's the guy that sailed with Roger and Rayleigh. They're known as the Wings, and
Mhm.
and I thought this was funny. It was like I assume he's the third strongest pirate on the crew,
Yeah.
and Gabon's like, no, it was actually second
Yeah, he
strongest.
just raises his hand and it's like he's like trembling and he just does like he just shows like the two and he's like second
Yeah,
strongest. Like that's all he could say.
yeah. And it really reminds us all of just like the whole Zoro and Sanji thing too. Like
Yeah.
it's very funny.
The
I
dynamic
really
that
like
they
that.
have. It seems like
That
every crew
yeah,
might have this dynamic of like second versus third strongest.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so that's when Chopper was like, "Yo, just going on. Like, listen, there's so much shit going on upstairs. I was gonna say upstairs.
Upstairs, yeah.
Uh, yeah. Up there, and Chopper explains, and then that's when like you see. I assume that's Emu's hockey.
Yeah, I think it's like
That's
there's some
just
conquerors
rains
hockey.
down. Yeah, some strong ass conquerors hockey, and even Gabon's like, ah, yeah, he's in a weakened state, but it's like, oh shit, the hockey. And that's
Yeah.
when we see the last panel of
Mhm.
Hajrudin, Luffy, and Loki. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. So
Mhm.
that marks the end of that.
Yeah. I like the
Man,
end the how it ends with the three of them. Obviously, Hadrian, Luffy both look um very nervous or very I'm not sure how to describe it. They look very concerned, you know. And meanwhile, Loki's
yeah,
just laughing, you know. And I think that's what I guess this is just the like why the episode is titled like I get the idea, you know.
yeah,
They're starting to realize like what's going on in the world, like what's going on upstairs, and Loki's just like, you guys, looks like you guys are gonna need me, you know.
yeah, and I wonder how much they're gonna free him because they're like they mentioned that like they're not gonna remove all the cuffs, but I'm like, dude, like with who we got upstairs, man. You better your motherfuckers better free this man because
Yeah,
he's
free my man, dude.
you guys we need Loki, and you know, there's some things like I'm concerned about what might go on because
Mm-hmm.
like how okay. So when they get up there, there's that chance, right, that maybe one or two of them is gonna get turned to into
Mm,
a demon with the Dami reverse. I mean, I thought it was gonna happen. Maybe there's something going on with like if you have strong enough hockey or something, like
yeah.
you can repel that
Mm-hmm.
maybe. But I would assume Dory and Broggy were strong. I mean, dude, aren't their bounties like both like over
I
1
thought
billion,
out of
right?
like the Giants, they were obviously like the strongest, or like
Yeah,
relatively like strong because they're the
and I,
captains of the. I guess is it the old Giant Pirates
yeah, and
or just the
just the
Giant
giant
Pirates?
pirate.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
assume they were very
so
strong.
man, like I can't
Mm-hmm.
see these three, even though we don't know how strong Loki is, and we see Luffy's there too.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see any of these guys actually stopping them. Like there might be something that might like propel them back, or we might see something stupid that goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Emu, like not Emu, Gunko gains control back of his body. Maybe
Yeah.
Emu like decides to like retreat because of what's going on in
Mary Joie.
Marjoie.
Yeah.
Emu's got a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot of ways for I could see this whole thing to be resolved.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but man, like I think the thing that keeps popping back into my head is like, what the hell did what the hell did King Harold do?
Yeah, I know. Like, what did King
Yeah,
Harold do, or what didn't he do? That I
yeah,
think that's the question everyone's, I guess, pondering from this chapter. Is just like,
yeah.
what was his failure?
And we also gotta know too. In the previous chapter, the last page is Ja Rule saying like he said something along the lines of like I'm a warrior. Like it'd be a
Hmm.
coward's way to do if I run away. So
Yeah.
and we didn't see him at all this chapter. Maybe he's cooking something up too.
Yo, maybe he
Maybe
just ran, dude.
maybe he just ran too. I don't know. Ja Rule's kind of a goober,
Yeah.
but um, it was like, but in total though, this was like a pretty cool little chapter.
Hmm.
Um, it's a big setup though.
Yes,
I
I think
compare it
so.
like these next few chapters are gonna slap. I mean, they've all been slapping every chapter. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna lie. This arc has been cinema.
Yeah.
Um, but this has been a good good setup chapter for what's gonna be happening in the next few.
Hmm.
I guess we can go into the ratings unless there's anything else you would like to say or talk about.
No, I think let's just go into the ratings. What did you rate this chapter?
I rated a 7.
Hmm.
Um, for what his job was to just be a setup, I thought it was really well
Hmm.
done, and it's also brought up a few like important questions, right? Like,
Yeah.
and we talked about like the whole episode so far is what did Harold do?
Hmm.
Uh, also like for me is like I I'm so excited to see like what Loki did
Yeah.
um to Harold and like how like why he brought himself up to it and it goes back to like what I previously said and also like the extent of Emu's power, man. Like it looks like right now like Emu's got the upper hand and like with the way the story's gonna go like there has to be a way for them to stop them, or maybe they don't stop them.
Hmm.
Maybe Luffy just maybe the Straw Hats and whatever remnants of the giant pirates and everybody else they got run away
Hmm.
and just escape. We don't really know. So I thought this was a really good chapter. Um, I don't know what else could have made it go up in ratings, but I'll just
Yeah.
say it's a 7.
Okay. It's pretty good. Let's
What about you?
see. I rated this an 8. Again, it definitely was a setup chapter. I like that it brought up, like these questions that we already had previously of like what was Harold's failure. Um, I really, I don't know why. I really like the little portion between Loki and I forgot his name, Shaggy. I think that's what they call him. Um, I
Um,
think they brought. I like when they bring in very mysterious characters. Like who is this guy
yeah,
that? Like how did they? Like they've never met each other. They've only been talking through the Den Den snails.
And then Amushi.
Yep. And like who is this guy? Like what's going on? And like what is their relationship, you know? Like does this person have to like have something to do with, like like Harold's failure, or like who is this guy that seems to be so close to Loki when nobody's close supposed to be close to him, you know?
Yeah.
So I thought it brought in some very interesting questions, but nah, I gave it an 8. I enjoyed it. It was pretty funny, um, serious at times, but I'm just excited to see what's next.
Yeah. So let's like from there. Let's get into the next segment, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We're gonna go to episode 1132
Mm-hmm.
of One Piece, the
Yes.
anime. We're
Yep.
Naked Island, baby. Uh, Actually, but more specifically, we are on the Kuma backstory.
Mm-hmm.
We are the title of this episode is 1132. A pledge to Guinea. Kuma becomes a father, and I also think too, like someone mentioned this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But like the last episode of the Kuma backstory, I think it's on Father's Day, right?
Yes, it was. No, no. This weekend is Father's Day, the 15th.
Yeah. So the
Mm-hmm.
next episode, the last, I think is the last episode of the Kuma backstory is gonna be on Father's Day. So I thought,
Yeah.
hey, Toby, I see what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. But because Kuma is one of the only good fathers in this whole fucking series. It's like
I'm trying to
him and
think.
Beji.
Him,
Him and
Beji,
Beji.
and then what's it called?
Spandam's dad. Spandam's dad.
Spanners
Spandam's dad.
that, and then also the Dressrosa, the king, Rebecca's father.
Yeah.
Yeah,
King Riku?
I think so. Something. I
You
it's
talking
not.
Riku or Kiros?
I forgot. Oh man, that was so long
Oh,
ago for me.
Rebecca's dad is Kairos.
Yes, that's what it was.
Riku Riku is the other one.
Mm,
Viola's dad.
mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's just get into this one, man. I thought this
Yeah.
was a pretty good episode. I didn't. It was nothing crazy, you know.
Really, dude.
It
I
was.
love this
I mean, I
episode
don't know.
personally.
I mean, when I talk about crazy, I'm talking
Hmm.
about like action and shit. But it's
Yeah.
like in terms of just like sentiment, yeah, it was a good lot. It was a good episode. I really
Hmm.
enjoyed it. But I mean, yeah, dude, you want to start it off since
Yeah.
you said you really
Dude,
enjoyed this
I
shit.
I love this episode personally. And I guess to give whoever's watching a little brief, like the last episode ended with Ginny being abducted, and Kuma being down bad, like his reaction to that. And this episode starts off with the Revolutionary Army, Dragon, Ivankov, Kuma. They're doing their Revolutionary Army things. I believe they're like retreating, taking a bunch of soldiers back. And they get a distress call. I forgot exactly from where. I believe it's Toomey in South Blue, and they're just like, oh, like we need backup, like we need help, and they're just like, oh, like we can't. We're taking a bunch of like wounded soldiers back, and Kuma just goes, I'm gonna head out, And Ivanka kind of goes off and is just like, yo, like after Ginny got captured, you've been acting reckless, And they plead
Yeah.
him not to go, but again, Kuma, as soon as he gets his hand out and does the swipe, dude, I think it's so cool. He just blasts off, dude.
Oh my. The action sequences they do because they've done it a few times in this episode of Kubo just fucking teleporting, is yeeting
Hmm.
himself
Yeah.
is really cool. Like I was like it's actually very visually pleasing
Hmm.
to see those. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
But dude, when Kuma pulled up to there, I forget which kingdom it was, dude.
I think it's Toomey in South Blue.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it is insane. Like
Oh yeah.
it's like one man army. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
That's what I
no,
was
literally,
thinking the
that's
whole
all
time.
that I wrote. One man army on my notes.
Yeah, that's funny, dude. He
Okay.
fucked everybody up.
Yeah.
Um, but like but like Kuma keeps like getting reminded, like he can't get it out of his head. Like Oh, she's been captured. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you could see
That's
as
all he
he's
keeps
fighting,
thinking
he
about.
just gets like flashbacks of Ginny getting taken, and you can kind of see the rage inside of him, like the
Yeah.
frustration, the rage. And dude, whenever he does the I think it's the Ursha shock, bro, he just like levels
Mm,
the battlefield instantly.
yeah.
Like it's so pleasing hearing that sound and then seeing him fight.
His voice actor, just the
Oh my
way his
god,
voice actor
yeah.
does it really well when he's in when he's in Joe mode, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but dude, it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like after all that, all that fighting and stuff, we see they finally Guinea's on the boat
Mm-hmm.
and we
And I
see
believe it's been 2 years since she's been captured. So like they haven't heard anything from her for 2 years.
we see that Bonnie's with her.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
she's holding
presumably
a
them being together.
baby.
And that's when we see like the scales, right? The
Oh god,
scales, or not the
yeah.
scales, the stone
The
that's
stones on her
on her
skin.
skin. It reminds me of the was it the dragon
Yeah,
scales
I
from
was just about to say from
Game of
Game of
Thrones?
Thrones. Yeah, very similar.
Yeah. It's like, oh, it's just gonna get to a point. But like in Game of Thrones, when you fully get succumb to the sickness, you don't die, you just become mad,
Like
right? That
feral,
was the whole
yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, you just become feral. But this one you just straight up die. This is you know
Yeah.
I guess, but like he goes to presumably to like where they were at, Kuma's homeland,
Hmm.
goes to the church, um and that's when like she calls them. She calls the Revolutionary Army as she's dying on her. I was gonna say deathbed, but she's on the death floor.
Yeah.
Uh, she's holding. She's with what's it called, Bonnie, and
Hmm.
they're like, listen, they like, like I'm dying. Like Kuma,
Yeah.
you can't. I don't want you to see me. I just wanted to say bye.
Yeah.
Like
Oh my
just
god,
one
yo,
last
this
time.
this low
That
key
shit
made me
fucked me up.
cry a little bit, bro. She's like, I'll always love you, you know.
Hmm. And yeah, she even says like, "Hey man, I've gotten sick. The celestial dragons let me go.
Mhm.
I'm new used to them, and maybe it's a good thing." That's she even says that. It's like, hey,
I
man, like it's a
know.
good thing, right? I got let go, and boom, dead. And like Kuma like runs out, like he knows where she's at.
Yeah.
There's only one place she could go to,
Hmm.
and like while he's gone, like she tells them like, "Hey, like please watch over him. Like he is too nice. Yeah,
Hmm.
like like
Yeah.
he's got a lot of stuff going on. Blah 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 blah." And yeah, she goes. Him. He goes to the church. All the elders, all the old people are just standing around, like just watching this. She's just dead.
Hmm.
Um, and right underneath Guinea's body, we see our homegirl,
Hmm.
Bonnie.
Yep. Yeah, I thought the scene was really nice. Especially, well, I mean, this whole episode, I thought, dude, the flashbacks hit in this episode, dude. Every time the flashbacks were started playing, I was like, damn, dude, like, yo, Kuma didn't deserve any of this. And
No,
yeah, like Kuma finds her, he's just crying, and then he just hears crying, like the baby crying, and that's where he obviously discovers the baby, which is, we know, Bonnie. Um,
yep. And we get into a little montage, man.
yeah,
A little montage of just them growing up together, and it's
which
so
was
funny.
actually so nice. Like contrary to like how sad the episode started, like seeing Kuma be a father is like it's very nice because you can see like he doesn't know anything about being a father, obviously.
Yeah. And I love the having like there's always just people. I mean, it's a church, right? But there's like the elders are always there.
Hmm.
You know, um, I mean, later in the episode, you see the kids go in there too to play. But it's
Yeah,
like just this, this is all Kuma fucking wanted, man. He didn't
dude.
want
Yeah, he
any
could have
of the
had
shit going
such
on.
a simple life.
He just wants a simple life running a church and
Hmm.
having community around him. It's
Yeah.
all he wanted. He's go through so much fucked up shit, but we see the small glimpse of happiness.
Hmm.
Raising Bonnie,
Yeah.
learning how to hold a bottle.
Yeah.
With his big ass hands.
Yeah, dude, seeing
And like
how
it,
big he is and how small she is, I was like, this is just like comedic.
and we see too the his double is not double like, but his like his day job of just going out to the Revolutionary Army, helping out, putting his hours in,
Hmm.
and just flying back to the church to go help out with raising Bonnie.
Yeah.
And man, it is very 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 what's it called wholesome.
Hmm.
But we know Kuma backstory, it never gets better. I mean, when you think it gets better, something fucked up happens. Because
Yeah.
right when this all this is going on, we see that Bonnie has the same disease that Guinea had.
Yep. You can see on her cheeks the sapphire. I guess like we'll know like right here like we find out it's like sapphire scales because as soon as it pops up like they
Yeah,
start having doctors appear and that's when one of the doctors is just like all the doctors like yo this isn't white lead disease like I don't know what this is but I thought this was really nice. It kind of reminded me of like Law in Corazon, where like Corazon was like going to all the doctors trying to cure Law's disease. You can see Kuma's the exact same way. He's calling up every single doctor he knows, even the Revolutionary Army's like trying to help out with curing her,
yeah.
and there's just like it seems like nothing. There's no
He,
cure.
he put in his 2 weeks with the Revolutionary Army, and
Yeah.
that's what Dragon's like. Yeah. Dragon's like,
Mhm.
all right, yeah, I get it. Like, go do what you got to do, and we'll help you out what we can.
Wherever we can. Yep.
And I thought, man, that scene, my favorite scene of this whole episode is coming up shortly after that was
Yes.
when they were playing with the toys, and then like they're like um when you get better, we're gonna go like travel, do all this shit. And
Hmm.
she's like, and he's like, oh, where do you want to go? And she's like, oh, I want to go to Sky Island, and I think that's where Nika is. And then
Yeah. Yo, the
that
dance.
scene, this scene where Nika they do the Nika dance. Oh my god, man,
Hmm.
that should make me feel a little something. You know what
I
I'm
know,
saying?
no, dude, I was feeling it, but I'm glad you brought that up because I thought that was a really interesting part of the story where like he specifically says like Bonnie, if you were to travel after you got well, like where would you want to go? And I don't know if you remember, but like previously when we saw Kuma, I think this was at Thriller Bark,
The first
like
time, yeah.
yeah, he pulls up to Perona and all he says is like I believe he's like
Think of somewhere,
yeah,
like
he's
where
like,
you want to
no,
go.
like if you would like to go on a vacation, where would you want to go? You know?
Yeah,
And I thought I was like, oh wow, like I actually remembered this detail. I was like, oh, this is actually really nice.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
But that's also like
So
what he says to everyone before he just sends them off, you know? He's
yeah,
where would you want to go? And you can see like I guess this is probably the first time he's asking someone this and it's to Bonnie and it's like really wholesome. Meanwhile, like when we saw him in Thriller Bark or like even like Saboti, like we're just like, yo, this guy's a menace. Like where's he about to send them, you know? But like little do we know he's
I
actually
thought,
sending them to like the best place possible, you know? Or where they need to be.
yeah. Um, yeah, I didn't even notice. I didn't even peep that. That's a good catch.
Hmm.
But that's on like, I love that scene so much, man. It's actually so wholesome. But obviously, like I said, when we see good things, something bad happens because, right, shortly after that, Kuma was talking to a doctor. Doctor is like, listen, bruh, she got he got probably like 5 years left.
Like
She
she's
probably got
not gonna
5 years
even
left to
see
live.
10 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And um, Bonnie hears all this, but she's just like, "Oh, you guys are talking about me," and Kuma's like, "Yeah, the doctor said that you're gonna be straight at 10."
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm like, dude, Kuma,
Oh my
you are too nice,
god.
man.
I
Tell her
know.
how it be, bro. Tell her how. Dude, that shit made me cringe, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That shit
Mm,
made me cringe. But and then they're like happy and he's like, "What the fuck am I gonna do?"
yeah.
And the episode just ends with one of the older people, the elder,
Mhm.
just pulling up. Was like, "Hey, King Bakori is starting to fight again,"
Yep.
and it just we get hit with the to be continued
Yeah.
right after that.
Dude, Kuma just
Um,
cannot catch a break, dude, ever.
yeah, Kuma cannot catch a break, and every time something good happens, something bad comes
Follows
right after.
immediately. Yeah, like way worse.
the next episode next week on Father's Day is gonna be so fucking crazy of how
Mm-hmm.
sad it's gonna be. Because it's cool quick spoilers ahead if you're an anime only watcher, but that's when we see Kuma is gonna agree to the government experiment, right?
He meets
Uh,
Vegapunk.
as soon as he accepts to use his body for the government
Mm-hmm.
in exchange for Bonnie's disease to be cured. So,
Yeah.
man, I cannot fucking wait.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited. I'm really curious. Like, do you think next, like on Father's Day, that will be the last of Kuma's backstory, or do you think there'll be one more?
I I don't know how they're gonna fit all that into one episode.
Yeah, I was kind of curious too, because if I remember correctly, I mean, there's like a decent amount of story, obviously, because he has like where we're at right now, like he hasn't met Vegapunk, but I don't know if you guys saw the preview, but he meets Vegapunk in the next chapter, and I assume that's where they go into the experiment stuff. But yeah, I'm wondering if it'll be 2 episodes.
Maybe I just thought it'd be cool to end it on Father's Day,
Yeah,
but
I think it would be really nice to end on Father's Day if they could, but yeah, there
yeah,
is a
but
lot of content, and I think especially again spoilers if you guys aren't caught up, but I would also love for the episode to end with going back to Egghead Island like currently, and just seeing Kuba, um, like come back, you know.
yeah,
So I'm really curious as to whether they can actually fit that all into one episode. If not, I think it would be probably 2 episodes.
yeah. Um, I don't think you expect to, but I mean, we'll get there when we get there, I guess,
Mm,
right? Let's just talk about like let's get into ratings, okay?
yeah.
I guess I went first, so you go first with this one.
Okay. Dude, I gave this a 9 out of 10. I thought this episode was so good. It was so sad. Like the sad parts were actually so sad. Like I teared up, and then the good parts were just so wholesome. Like I think the best part was like him doing the dance with her, dude. Even that low key made me tear up. You know, seeing him
Yeah,
happy, and I thought the whole contrast of again his double life, like him literally day job just destroying armies. You know, one man army
yeah,
destroying armies, and then meanwhile making it home for dinner. You know, to take care of Bonnie, and then even the one scene where like he comes back after a day of work and he's running back and he has to wipe off, I guess it's like dirt or blood like off his face just so he kind of like hides like his day job to Bonnie. I thought
yeah.
all the details were really good, all the flashbacks even earlier. um I think some of the flashbacks they were kind of like the way they were shown was almost like a photo book, like pages in a photo book. I thought everything was
Yeah.
done really well. So I give this like a 9 out of 10, almost like a 10 out of 10. But what did you
Uh,
rate this?
I was gonna give this an 8.5, 8.
Mm,
Because man, like I thought the highs, I like the highs of this episode were really good because
yeah.
like all the wholesome moments just made me like it made me feel made me feel a little jealous. Like, damn, I wish I had this shit. But um, I'm just like, I can't really complain much about the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in terms of just setting up for how is he okay, so the way it leaves off this episode is how is he gonna cure his disease, right? And
Mm-hmm.
what are we gonna do with King Bikori? And it's just gonna do a big build up for what's actually gonna happen in the next episode.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see that those resolutions happen. And yeah, I just like I can't really complain much.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a really good episode. The way the way it's animated and choreographed, to make me feel like a bitch, to be honest. It was really good, man. Make a grown
Yeah.
man cry. And yeah, so I guess there's really not much else to say because again, like there's really not that much to happen in this episode in
Mm-hmm.
terms of just like concept. It's just kind of just going off the Bonnie growing up, getting the disease, all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's a cool 8.5. I really like this episode.
Hmm.
A lot better than the previous episode,
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I think so.
In my opinion. My opinion.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I guess there's that.
Yeah, but I guess
Um,
that's all
uh,
we have for the agenda today, right?
yeah. Oh, next week you should be expecting. I think there's a new chapter coming out next week. I don't think there's a break.
Yeah,
I
I
can
don't
double check.
believe that there's a break, but yeah. And then obviously we
Let me double.
have 11:33, the next anime episode, which is
Oh,
gonna be
okay.
even sadder. What were you saying?
It says see y'all on June 15th.
Okay,
I
yeah,
guess
there is a
there is a
chapter,
break next. Oh
right?
no, it says here there is a break. I think when they say see y'all on June 15th,
Oh,
I think the guy might have meant like we're gonna do updates on June 15th for the following chapter.
okay. So maybe a chapter next, maybe or maybe not a chapter.
Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
either way, expect another episode from us because there's
Yeah.
gonna be another One Piece episode anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be the one that I do think is going to be the best one out of all of them. We'll see from the
Yeah.
Kuma backstory. Um, but yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, just give us a like, give us a subscribe, and
Mm-hmm.
if you're listening to other platforms, just give us a follow and all that on that too as well.
Yeah.
Did you want to say anything else before we send us out?
I guess if you guys haven't, we just released a video over the weekend. I think it was our Aura tier list or updated Aura tier list video. Um, Make sure to go check that out if you like it. Like, please let us know. I think we really like doing videos like that, that kind of go into other things besides anime review, manga reviews, and if you have any ideas, like please let us know. But make sure to check that out.
Yes, yes, I really enjoyed doing that video.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's all, man. Like I said, check out the previous video, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys till next time. Peace.
Yep. Till next time.